So just a little bit of fun that I thought I'd ask you guys a question, which is the best ever Rocky movie made? And I left out Rocky number 5 because as much as I enjoyed it, and I do like it, I didn't think that had any kind of chance of winning the poll. I don't know, maybe I was wrong. But I only had 5 options as well to give you, so I had to leave a Rocky movie out, so I opted for number 5. So anyway, the results are in at number 1. Now, of course, these are not the place that I thought would happen, but anyway, number 4, 37% in at number 1. In at number 2 is the original Rocky, the very first one. Then in third place, Rocky 3, then Rocky 2, then Rocky Balboa, as in the last in the franchise as such. Of course, we could argue Creed and Creed 2, which is of course coming up as well, could have been thrown in there. But for me, they're kind of like Apollo Creed movies, not really like Rocky movies. So most of you thought that Rocky 4 was the best movie. Again, I thought Rocky would win this one, to be honest. Now, I do agree with you guys, Rocky 4 is my favourite too. But I thought that most people would say Rocky as in the first one. Because most people, whenever a movie comes out, they kind of like the original more than any other from any kind of movie box set. For example, like Back to the Future, most people will probably say Back to the Future Part 1 is the better one. And Star Wars, they'd probably say A New Hope is probably better. Or, no, actually, that's not true. Most people will probably say Empire Strikes Back, right? Which, by the way, Star Wars was my ultimate movies when I was growing up as a kid. Now, Rocky 4. Why? Probably because of Drago, a big man machine. Probably that's why. And of course the music soundtrack. Now, when I was very, very small, I'm lifting weights to no avail whatsoever, because at that kind of age I'm never going to be getting any kind of muscle mass. But I would work out to the Rocky 4 soundtrack. In fact, it was the very first CD that I ever bought, was the Rocky 4 soundtrack, and it's, even now I still like it. Now, would it be Ivan Drago? Is it a case of people like this movie because it has a lot of highs, a lot of lows in it? Because, for example, like Drago, as I said, this big man machine, unstoppable force, and he kills Apollo Creed. So again, you've got that storyline as well, that Apollo Creed got killed in the ring, and Rocky Balboa, whatever. Now, Rocky 4 was the very first movie that I went to the cinema to watch. As I said, I was very small, but I went to the cinema with my school, and that was the very first movie that I seen as well. So maybe I'm a little biased on that one. And I remember that there was like talk or rumours at the time that Rocky was going to die in this movie. As it turned out, it was Apollo Creed as well. So anyway, Rocky 4, I Must Break You, in at number 1. Number 2, the original Rocky. Now, of course, when you look back on it now, if you've never seen the Rocky movies and you watch it now, you probably wouldn't get it, because it's probably going to look, I don't know, a bit dated. And the fight scene, not as good as the other ones in my opinion. But the movie as a whole, this guy, he's a professional boxer, but he fights on the small hall shows. He's making zero money. He hasn't got 2 pennies to rub together, and he works as a henchman for some kind of local gangster in Philadelphia. So he'll go out and break thumbs and fingers to get money for the gangster, much like Advendil Kurtzeze. You see, he's just been sentenced for that, right? So yeah, that whole rise where this local guy is given an opportunity at the heavyweight world title against the champion, the undefeated Apollo Creed. So it was meant to be a exhibition match of sorts, and Rocky come there and put it all on the line. He ultimately lost the fight, but a very, very arguable decision. It's almost like a Canelo Triple G one, isn't it? But anyway, that's what it is. Now, in at number 3, Rocky 3, again, this could be down to the bad guy, the villain, that most people like Mr. T as the villain. And an interesting fact for you as well, in case you guys don't know, some of you may well do, that Mr. T wasn't the first choice. The first choice was, in fact, Frank Bruno. Yeah. Now, could you imagine him as Clubber Lang? Personally, I couldn't. So I think Mr. T was definitely the right choice in the end. And Frank Bruno, anyway, he said that he didn't want to do it because he felt like this small little guy, Sylvester Stallone, it wasn't realistic that he could beat him. So that's why he said no. So Mr. T said, yeah, you know what, I'll do it, and gave her the whole "hey woman" kind of speech. And excellent, absolutely excellent. I thought Mr. T did a stellar job for that one. Was that before or after the A-Team series. I don't remember which one it was, but anyway, I thought Mr. T was awesome in that. And of course, the whole storyline as well with Rocky Balboa's trainer dying in Mickey. So again, lots of ups and downs, highs and lows. So yeah, a real solid story in Rocky 3 as well, as all of them are. And Rocky 2 finished in at 4th place. I like Rocky 2 again. So this is the follow-on from the original where Rocky lost, but the crowds are saying that they felt Rocky beat him, and Apollo Creed was lucky and he was gifted a decision. So Apollo Creed is goading, trying to get Rocky into a rematch, obviously offering loads of money and whatever else. In the end, Rocky ended up taking the fight, and his wife at the time, Adrian, was pregnant, and then toward the end of the movie she gave birth after going into a coma. So again, it had that whole high and low aspect to it. So the fight itself was one of the better fights from the Rocky movies, I thought. Rocky 2, the final fight, where Rocky finishes Apollo Creed in the final round with like seconds to go, where both of them are on the deck, and Rocky makes it up literally just before the count of 10 to win the title. So yeah, Rocky 2 was also a classic. Now, I love all the movies, literally all of them. But in that last place, Rocky Balboa. Of course, this is an up-to-date version. I wasn't keen on this one purely from the fighting perspective. They went from the kind of Rocky classic to today. Okay, so they had like the HBO and all that kind of thing. And Antonio Tarver, for me, listen, fantastic boxer, but garbage actor. I want to be rude, but he was terrible in that movie. So they could have found somebody better, to be perfectly honest. But maybe it was outdone by maybe Tony Bellew in Creed. Maybe, I don't know. I wasn't too convinced by Tony Bellew in that one. But hey, you know what? I still enjoyed it all the same. But yeah, Antonio Tarver killed it for me. Had they had a better bad guy, I'd have been more invested. And also, they kind of stayed away from the keeping it up to date. So, they even had like Mike Tyson in the crowd and things like that. It was complete pointless. They should have went with the whole storyline of Rocky, which is separated from the real life. Okay, that's what they should have done. But yeah, I mean, I still enjoyed it. It was pretty good. Of course, again, it had the emotional highs of his wife dying in the movie. So a special mention to Rocky 5 as well. Tommy Morrison, of course, he was a former heavyweight champion as well, WBO world heavyweight champion as well from America. He died in, is it 2013, I think it was, in real life from HIV, or well, I say died from HIV. You don't die from HIV, do you? You die when it turns to AIDS, and that's what happened. So again, Tommy Morrison, not too good at acting, I didn't think. So yeah, listen, he did a pretty good job. It was sellable to me, and as a kid, I enjoyed the movie very much as well. And of course, with Rocky's son in the movie as well, which was his real life son in Sage Stallone. Again, he died only a few years back there in real life as well, from a heart attack, I believe, at the age of mid-30s or something. So it's no age at all to die. So yeah, I enjoyed Rocky 5 as well. In fact, I enjoyed all of them, but I do agree with you that Rocky 4 is the better one. And again, that's for because of the whole Drago. This is America versus Russia, and this was at a time when there was literally in real life tension between America and Russia. Of course, I was too young to know about all this, but of course there were things on the news and whatever. Remember, is it the Russian Prime Minister Gorbachev? He had that beetroot thing on top of his head, and they had an actor to look like Gorbachev but without the birthmark. The whole thing was brilliant. I enjoyed the movie from start to finish. I could watch it now. In fact, it's one of those movies you can put on at any time and go, yeah, I enjoyed that. But you know what? Much like with any Rocky movie, all of them are good. So anyway, I want to do this video, which is why I did that poll. So thank you very much for those of you who've seen the poll on my community tab and took a vote on it as well. I have no idea if you guys can actually see what the percentages are before you click your vote. I have no idea because I don't get to see any of that. I can't vote on these myself. And of course, you don't have to be a subscriber to vote as well. But if you are a subscriber, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And if you're not, why not? It's brilliant over here. Click that subscribe button. So yeah, I thought that I'll do this one just to have like a little break for all of us from the real life of our fanboyism or some of the online hatred that kind of like flows around. So I want to do this one because people love the Rocky movies. And next one, I'm probably going to ask you which movie is the best of all the boxing movies? And I'll do like a little poll, and I'll use Rocky 4 because it won this poll. Okay, so I'm not going to put Rocky versus Raging Bull, for example. I'm going to put Rocky 4 versus Raging Bull because Rocky 4 won this one. But again, I can agree with anybody or any movie that won the vote on this one. All of them had good highs and lows. Rocky Balboa had its moments where it had like a lot of powerful speeches in it, I thought. But for me, yeah, I agree. Rocky 4 is probably just edging it. But again, that's just my opinion, and for most of you, that's your opinion too. So anyway, drop your thoughts below about the Rocky movies. Click that thumbs up and subscribe. Catch you all on the very next video.